Welcoming bang, Duane Ludwig to the program. Man, it's been years since I've actually physically seen you because we're always seem to be on different coasts and different cities at the same time. But I still stalk you. Like I told you years ago, I still do everything. I was actually one of the guys that was really surprised that you went down to Alpha Male to begin with, and then wasn't really surprised when you're like, look, I got to get back home to my family in Denver. I think that story has pretty much been played out in the media enough that we don't need to get into it. But Urijah just fought this last weekend in a very respectful kind of way. Hey, the friendship's gone. I can now fight, which means now you're going to be brought back into the middle of this whole mess. Did you watch Urijah fight this last weekend at all?
Yes, I did. I watched the fight. Yep.
And obviously you're one of those coaches that is, even though you're not coaching anymore, that particular individual, you're still looking at him like, oh man, if you just did this or just did that, it would have been a better fight or a quicker fight or whatever. That's just the kind of coach you are.
Yeah. I felt I don't think he looked that good. I thought there was quite a few things he could improve on. He's pretty set in his ways. I think out of all the guys on the team, he was the least improved guy. But what he has now has got him to where he is. He's very successful with what he's done. But there are quite a few areas that I see that he could use some improvement in.
So now it's a former student, but now you're looking at this with a little different eye because there's 100% going to be a battle between him and TJ at some point. It's just going to happen.
So, yeah, it could happen, right? And he's trying to make like a personal feud here, which there's really no personal feud in my eyes, but he's trying to make the personal feud in order to fight TJ because I don't think he can actually earn the right to fight TJ and become the number one contender. So I think he understands that. And he's intelligent. He's smart about things like this in the business side. And the only way he could fight TJ is to make it a personal situation. So,
and we have seen how the UFC now, if you taunt somebody enough or call out enough people, that eventually you'll get to number one contendership, even though you're number 10, even though you're number 9. Conor McGregor did it. In my personal opinion, was not the guy to be next in line, but wins so easily. It's like, well, how was he not the guy? He talked his way into it, and now he's the champ, and rightfully, respectfully so, doing it through trash talking. We all know trash talkers, myself included, that just didn't meet up to it when it was time for the fight. How do you keep? It seems like a lot of your athletes don't seem to be that kind of person. They're not boastful. They're not out there trying to be entertainers. They're just trying to be fighters. How do you find guys that are going to be that kind of? Better yet, here's a better question. How many guys have you had to turn away that said, hey, Duane, I want you to coach me? And you're like, sorry, man, it's not going to be a fit.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good question because I look at myself more as a martial artist, not really a fighter or a combative athlete. So when I'm in my academy or if I'm teaching another academy, I give respect and it comes back. We're martial artists. But we are in the fight game, and the fight game calls for entertainment, and that comes from obviously the trash talking,
Right.
But I ask my guys, and they're free to do their own thing, but they're a bit more respectful. Began writing along the martial art lines, but I got hit up quite a bit by quite a few people wanting me to coach them, but I don't really coach fighters. I train martial artists.
Okay.
So with right there has drawn the line, and that's why I only work with a handful of guys.
Do you find it frustrating that a lot of the tradition, because it is mixed martial arts, it's all the martial arts being thrown together, but it seems like a lot of the traditional martial art kind of standard that the Gracies brought to the game in the very beginning, that kind of respect that your mentor, Boss Rutan, brought to Pancras, and you did as well, that it's just like they're still bowing and they're still even if you beat a guy that's a higher rank than you still show him respect on the way out the door. Is it frustrating for you to see sometimes how the sport is evolving kind of away from that mentality?
Yeah, another good points. Awesome. Yes, I feel the fighting is becoming less of the traditional martial arts honor respect, and it is the entertainment industry, and it's exactly that. It's an entertainment industry. They're trying to sell tickets and have the views, and the common people don't understand the traditional martial arts, but what they do understand is trash talking, right?
Yeah.
And I obviously understand both sides of it. And Conor is very exciting, let's do. But also what he speaks is a lot of truth too. So it's not like he's, stirring up some fake realities. He's pretty honest. I feel with a lot of what he says, unlike what some other people do, just kind of create drama. Pretty honest, and what he says is I agree with a lot of what he says.
So you see how Conor's come up through the ranks, how quickly he's done it, and he is the only, in my personal opinion, the only one that walks that line of trash talking and still being a traditional martial artist. Like you listen to some of his conversations on talk shows, you hear some of his interviews, and he's still very traditional in his mindset, which comes from John Kavanagh, his coach. Which brings me to this: do you look at John Kavanagh as like one of those other coaches you can be like, hey, I can get along with that guy. That guy's kind of got the same mentality. I don't know if you guys ever met or you've ever been together at all.
I've never met him, but he does seem like a respectful guy for sure. I like what I've seen of him so far. I mean, he's obviously produced some excellent talent. But yeah, I like his demeanor. I've listened to some of his interviews. He's pretty, he's a respectful human being, which is nice, right?
Right.
And that's one thing I'm doing through the arts is, giving the respect so it comes back and helping make this world a better place. When people leave my academy, they're leaving with a more mature, accountable mindset rather than a trash talking thug, which I feel some fighters are, but that's fine. It's up to them. Just like Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson's awesome. They Rutin's awesome. So, but again, it doesn't really sell tickets, right, in the entertainment industry.
Right. Well, it does fill your kids' classes though at your academy. So how big is your kid classes right now? Because as a parent, you're a parent. You're like, look, I don't want my kid going to the thug down the street. I want him going to Duane Ludwig. That's where I want him to go train to become a martial artist and be maybe hopefully one day be in the big ranks in the UFC. But that so that mentality comes into it. How are your kids' classes right now? Like how full are they?
They're full. We have a good turnout for all our programs. It's again, leading by example, give respect. The respect comes back. And again, I'm a traditional martial artist. I did Kyokushin karate when I was 8 years old and been training ever since. So I've been training in the arts for 29 years now.
Wow, geez, that's good. You don't look that old, so it bids well. So obviously the martial arts are keeping you young as well. Who's the next star that we haven't quite seen yet that's coming out of your academy that you're like, this guy's going to be something here in the future? May not be in 2016, but pretty quick we're going to start seeing this guy and see him around.
Good.
Or girl.
Because, man, you know what? I have a 17-year-old girl, Macy, and she's badass. She really is good. I need to say that because she's my student, but regardless, she is badass. The only person that works harder than her and more focused and determined is TJ Dillashaw. Nobody else, I don't think, works as hard or as dedicated as Macy does. So her for sure, she doesn't even have a fight yet. She competes in jiu-jitsu, but she definitely stands out in my mind. Also, Corey Sandhagen. This kid's got a couple, but he is ready for the UFC right now. He's our excellent partner for TJ right now to mimic Cruz.
Okay.
So, Sandhagen and then Macy.
Wow, that's awesome. Two super studs come out of your academy.
They really are good.
And really, I try to tell everybody, like, it's John Jones blew on the scene. Just all of a sudden he was on the scene. Anderson Silva really kind of should have retired before he came back and fought in the WEC, and then all of a sudden he blows on the scene, and he's in the UFC, and he's the greatest of all time. Conor McGregor just kind of blows on the scene, and everyone's talking about this one loss to Duffy. It's like, well, it was years ago. Who cares? Now look how good he is now. It's like in 6 months, literally, one of your two students could literally be in the UFC and be talking about, oh, you're the next.
Yeah, correct.
Which brings me back to another student of yours, former student, excuse me, Paige Van Zandt. Now, she obviously was right in the transitional period when she kind of showed up at Alpha Male, so it wasn't very long. So I guess I'm incorrect in saying that the former student, but she's one of those that kind of got blown on the scene, comes out with, like, you're the next Ronda Rousey. She's kind of in that kind of mind frame. She loses and comes out right away as like, Rose showed me so many holes in my game. I've got so much stuff I have to work on. And then she's like, I'm just going back to work. And I was like, wow, that was not what I was expecting from her. I was expecting every excuse. I was expecting every little problem to come out of it, like a typical, model type where it's not my fault kind of thing. And she totally owned it. I was extremely happy with her reaction, but it's not the reaction of everybody at Alpha Male. Was that one of the deciding factors that kind of, there's a lot of stuff, and I know a lot of stuff that hasn't been talked about yet that's like kind of out there that caused you like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. But was that one of the things that like people was always like, it's Dwayne's fault? Not
there was never do it? Whenever any of my guys lost, it was never the coach's fault. It was never my fault. When I went to Sacramento, I mean, I've known since I was a child I was going to be living in Colorado and have my own academy. I took the job for a year in Sacramento, stayed longer than I perceived, but it was just time for me to go. I didn't leave because of any specific reasons. It was just time for me to go do my own thing, so get my family back to Colorado, and like, I'm happy, man. So it's nice.
It's such a great place to live, and last I looked, it was a couple of years ago, it was like the number one place in the country to raise a family. It's just like that's just the spot to be. Like the greater Denver area is just a hot spot. It's great. I love it anytime I get a chance to go up there and visit. And obviously, next time I come up, I'm gonna come by the academy.
Please.
I can't complain too much though. I'm looking at the ocean right now, living in Hawaii for the next 6 months. So I'm kind of like, okay, can go back and be in some snow or kind of sit here and swim. Like I went swimming this morning. I was in the ocean.
Yeah.
So.
We just got a foot of snow yesterday, so stay in Hawaii for a while.
Yeah, my old bones don't do well with snow. Like I have hard problems with it. So, obviously, I'm gonna hit you up later for TJ's info too, because I want to get TJ on here as well. But how is he doing right now as far as improvement goes? We always know he works hard. We always know that he's a juggernaut. He will just keep going as hard as you can. You have to kick him out of the academy a lot. Like, no, it's a half day. Go home. Go spend some time away from us. But how is he doing improvement wise? Like just that general little skill set that he's got to increase every time to keep the title. How is he doing with that?
He's just constantly improving, and then we're a great combination because I can't sit in a row. I'm always looking for the next piece, and so is he. So when we get together, we're literally on the cutting edge of martial arts evolution, and I love it. I love this right where we're at right now, and I've seen it since the first time I was training him. Like he's the guy, and everyone that trains with TJ, they know like he's going to be a champion. It's going to happen, and he's always making those steady improvements, and it's just fun to be a part of his career. I think we work really well together. He helps me get better, I help him get better. It's a win-win relationship, so that's why it works out. But he's constantly making improvements, more so here in Colorado because he has a dedicated coach now in each field, which was not in Sacramento. I mean, obviously I do my striking, but overall coaching as well. We have a dedicated jiu-jitsu coach, Elliot Marshall, who's a very good jiu-jitsu coach for MMA. Now we have a very good wrestling coach, again for MMA, Leister Bowling. We have a really good strength and conditioning coach, Laura Landau, that understands MMA. All these coaches have competed. They understand MMA, and that does make a difference. So he's making improvements all the time in each area now, rather than in just the striking.
So the only thing you're really missing, that I don't sound like, at least that TJ doesn't, I don't know that he has, is a nutritionist. That's the only thing he doesn't have. It's a dedicated nutritionist specifically for him. Does he have a nutritionist, or is he okay with his weight already?
I don't know if he has a nutritionist, but he is someone who's always ate healthy from a child up, so he has the good fundamentals of what to eat, when to eat it. He understands that process. He knows. I mean, he's a wrestler, right? Like you guys understand nutrition, how to fuel the body, and be ready to go when the bell rings.
Are you going to cap it off at how many pro athletes you'll be training, or is there unlimited amount because you have so much space now?
So it's I only work with a handful of guys. Like right now, I'm focusing on TJ Dillashaw. I'm focusing on a little bit on Tony Sims, who's also in the UFC.
Yep.
Corey Sanhagen, Macy, the guys who have the potential. I'm focusing on my academy, and then my spare time it goes to the fighters. And my spare time though is some OCD focus when I do it, because it's all I do. I love martial arts. That's why I'm here on this earth, to teach martial arts. So the academy it basically runs itself. I got my cousin Paul who runs it. I come in classes, and I got a really good gig. I got family running the business, and it's nice. So I can focus on studying tape for TJ and game planning and do what I need to do.
That's Duane Ludwig. Bang! Thanks so much for coming on here, man. I really appreciate it. Wow, that's awesome. I'm so happy that you're back in Colorado and got because I know the family wanted to get back. So I know that you're much happier when that family's happy, and then now you got your academy and everything's going so well for you. That's great, man. I'm so happy that things have come together for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, brother. We'll definitely be talking again soon for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Trigg. Appreciate it, my friend.
Take care. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. You as well.